Hi guys, nice to see you again. Welcome. During this video, I'm going to share with you a technique that you can apply at work to ensure that you connect with anybody and everybody easily. Let me share my screen with you and we can get right into it. Great, so let's now discuss how to easily connect with anyone at work. LeadGrowandDevelop.com have found that 28% of employees cite poor communication as the reason for not being able to deliver at work. They have also found that miscommunication costs the company with 100 employees $420,000 per year. Have you ever wondered why you feel like you just don't connect with all the stakeholders and colleagues equally well at work? Or perhaps you find it difficult to get your point across to a particular stakeholder or person. Sometimes it's like the other person talks a completely different language. I mean, we've all felt like that at certain stages. So you might have said to yourself that it's probably just due to different personalities, or their priorities are different, or something along those lines. Or perhaps you decided the other person is simply being difficult, or even a little weird. You might be right on all three of those counts, but it's most likely something simple and reasonable that is going on. So what is going on? Why does that sometimes happen to us? It is, in most cases, to do with their personality type. So yes, you were right. But how do you actually connect to any personality type then at work? So that's what this is all about. I want to share with you what's called the format system. The bare bones of this system was originally found by a lady called Bernice McCarthy in the 1970s already. And we still use this system very effectively within the workplace today. So let me share with you what this is all about. So the format system is a communication framework which caters for all personality group types. What Bernice has done, she's really divided people into 4 groups. She refers to them as the why and why not people, the what people, the how people, and the what if people. So let's delve a bit deeper and understand what each of these groups of people are really about. So if you classify people within these groups, you'll find that the why not people are referred to as the diverger personality. And they are the people that really needs to know why, the answer to this question, why, before they can begin anything. They generally need personal meaning and motivation in order to do stuff and to buy into concepts or ideas. They like listening to different perspectives. They're open to alternative possibilities. They tend to like to work in groups, and they tend to observe rather than necessarily taking action. Now the what people, they are referred to as the assimilators. Generally speaking, they love creating concepts and models. They need facts in order to get a conceptual understanding of something. And self-satisfaction and intellectual recognition is important to them. And typical careers, if you look at it from a very general perspective, are the natural sciences, research, planning and mathematics, and even business analysts. Now let's look at the how people, the convergers. They need to know how things work. So their strengths are, they are very good with practical application of ideas. They bring their view of the present in line with future security. That's one of their goals. Their favorite question, how? And they tend to be in the careers of applied sciences, developers, solution architects, engineering. Again, looking at a very general view of the how personality type. So if you're one of those people that love to find out how something works before you do anything else, then you might be a how person. And then the last category or group is the what if people, so the accommodators. They've got an interest in finding out if what they know can create new possibilities. So they're very action orientated and they like to carry out plans. Their goals are to make things happen, to bring action to ideas. And of course, their favorite question is, what if? Careers typically, in a general sense, would be marketing, sales, action-oriented managerial jobs, education, and social professions. So now that we've looked through some of these, or all of these groups, which type do you think you are? So this is all about figuring out which question is your number one question that you need answered before you tend to engage in something. Like, let's say, for example, you sit in a meeting or in a presentation listening. Which one of those questions do you need the answer to in order to be able to move on to the rest of the content? Personally, for me, is if I don't have a why for why are we listening to this particular topic or why is this important, if I can't answer the why question, I will sit and wait for the why to come before I engage in the rest of the presentation. So it's really important for me to have the why answered before I can take action and do anything else. So what is it for you? But it's all well and good to know that we've got all these different groups. How do we then use this system to connect to everyone at work? This is where the fun part starts. So I see that I've got the format system laid out here in lots of different colors. And it's basically dividing it into 4 quadrants. When you start thinking about communication, whether it's a presentation you're preparing, whether it's a meeting or a workshop you're planning, it's about breaking up that workshop or presentation into 4 quadrants, 1 for why, 1 for what, 1 for how, and 1 for what if. And then to start putting in some information that will satisfy each of those questions. So we start with the why. Let's say, for argument's sake, you are preparing a presentation. So it's important for you to then to answer the why question for the people in the audience that are why people, to include information about the history of what you're talking about, potentially list some benefits as to why we are here and why we're talking about this particular topic. Maybe you've got a case study or example you can include, even quotes, statistics, and any facts that will help supplement all of that. That is going to answer the why question for people. Then the second category here is the what. So the what people, this is really, as you know, about facts. They just want to know, what are we talking about? So they need to understand the definition of the scope of what we're talking about. So if they understand all the different acronyms, so make sure you de-jargon things for them. That is really important for the what people to understand. Then the how people, these are the action steps. So this is where you say, we are going to do it like this. And you might break up your session into different steps, or you might simply explain the steps of achieving the goal of whatever the topic is that you're covering. So that's very important. You can also answer the how for people with a demonstration or an exercise of something that's relevant. And then the final group, the what if people. This is really where you give the opportunity for people to ask questions. So this is where their ability to ask questions about what if this or what if that comes in. And it also is an area where you can cover anything that you may not have been able to cover, so anything you've missed. And you will also, in this area, future pace, which just means you say, what are we going to do next? What's the next steps? So in a nutshell, and a quite generic example, you can now see that the format system is simply making sure that you've got the right types of information to answer the why, the what, the how, and the what if for people. Let's see if we can look at a practical example. Okay, so let's have a look now. Let's say we are going to be running a workshop, a requirements workshop for human resources for a project we're running. So that's the topic. We start again with the why. So the why here is we can talk about some history about the project. So we can start by giving a bit of project background. We can also include a case study of a Canadian bank that's implemented a similar solution 12 months before and describe some of the benefits that they've realized. You could have some statistics and benefits, also cost saving of 2 million in year 1 with recruitment efficiencies. And finally, facts, the market is operating globally and competition talent has risen by 45%. So these are just examples of the types of information that you might include in the why part of your workshop preparation or presentation, or even an email if that's what you're doing. Then the what, in this case, you'll describe the scope of the project. So you'll say what's included and excluded so that we all understand what we're talking about. The how, this is where you could say, all right, we are going to run a few breakout sessions in this workshop where we'll break into groups. We've got a recruitment process we need to discuss, a talent selection process, and a rewards and recognition process. So let's do it like this. And this is where you explain to them how you would like them to address each of those processes. Or in terms of how people will also be satisfied if you simply describe the process to them so that they can see how it works. And then the final one, the what if people, cover what you've missed, give them an opportunity to ask questions, and yes, give them that future pacing. So remember to tell them what's coming up next. So this is just an example of how you could potentially prepare for a workshop using the format system. Now, just to really show you how you can embed the format system even further, is if you do run a workshop where you might have smaller groups that's going to be doing something separately around the recruitment process, for example, you might have somebody there saying to them, why is the recruitment process important? What does the recruitment process include? And then what tools are we using specifically for the recruitment process? So you nest in another why, what, how, and you can provide the opportunity of a what if for those people. So that way, keep on always addressing why, what, how, what if, when you've got an audience of any size and any description. So when can you use the format system? So I've touched here on an example of a workshop that you might run or a presentation. But in fact, if you keep the why, what, how, and what if top of mind when you engage with people in everyday conversation, you might pick up which of those questions are really important to the person you're talking to and build that into your conversation. You'll start to learn, and if you start looking out for this, you'll start to learn which stakeholders prefers which question. But if you don't know, it's simply a matter of whenever you speak to anyone or whenever you compose an email, make sure you answer all 4 of those questions to be sure that your audience or the recipient will find something of real value that will make them connect with the rest of your content. Of course, presentations and talks, this is very powerful. And then you can even use it when you do proposals, business cases, or requirements for that matter. Address all 4 questions and you will be connecting with everybody and every personality type. So did you like this content? I would love it if you liked it to click on like or even subscribe if you want more of this type of content to come your way. And you're also welcome to visit baexcellence.com to get some IOBA endorsed training. I hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you.